My entire family is calling me a coward, and my brother hasn't spoken to me in 3 weeks because I chose not to show up to his intervention. Not because I didn't care. Not because I didn't know, but because I made a deliberate, conscious decision to stay home. And now everyone acts like I'm the reason it fell apart. Okay, so here's the situation. My brother's name is Marcus. He's 31, I'm 28. We grew up close, like genuinely close, not just holiday card close. He was the one who drove me to college orientation. I was the one who sat with him in the ER after his first real panic attack 6 years ago. We had the kind of bond where you could say the uncomfortable thing and still go get tacos after. For the last 2 years, though, Marcus has been drinking. A lot. It started after he and his long term girlfriend split up, and it's just spiraled. He lost one job, barely held onto the next. My mom stopped mentioning it directly, which is how I knew she was terrified. My dad started texting me updates like I was his co pilot on some covert operation. And my Aunt Renata, who has never once in her life stayed out of anything, became the unofficial organizer of the family response. Renata called me 6 weeks ago with the plan, an intervention. The whole setup, professional interventionist, a Thursday afternoon, everyone gathering at my parents' house, Marcus being told it was just dinner. She'd already coordinated with my parents, my cousin Deja, and Marcus's best friend from college. She wanted me front and center. She said, and I'm quoting here, "You're the one he'll actually listen to, sweetheart. You have to be there." And I felt that. I really did. Because she wasn't wrong, Marcus and I had always had that channel open. But something about the whole setup made my stomach knot up in a way I couldn't explain at the time. Here's the thing I should have said out loud sooner. I had already tried. Not an intervention with a facilitator and rehearsed letters, just me and Marcus, sitting in his apartment about a month before any of this was organized, telling him the truth. I told him I was scared. I told him I'd noticed the changes. I told him I loved him and that I was watching him disappear, and I asked him what he needed. He cried, we talked for 2 hours. And at the end of it, he looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you ever pull some kind of family ambush on me, I will never forgive you. That is the one thing I can't do, being cornered like some kind of problem to be solved." I held on to that, maybe too tightly, maybe not tightly enough, I still don't know. When the intervention date got closer, I called Renata and told her what Marcus had said to me. I said I was worried that showing up in that room would destroy the one line of trust he still had with me. She didn't take it well. She said I was overthinking it, that Marcus didn't know what was good for him, and that I was letting my special relationship with him become an excuse to avoid the hard thing. And okay, that stung, because part of me wondered if she was right. I called my mom. She was quieter about it, but she said, "We need you there, honey. This only works if the whole family shows." And when I told her what Marcus had said to me directly, she went silent for a second and then said, "He tells you things he doesn't mean when he's scared." Maybe, but I wasn't willing to bet our relationship on that interpretation. I didn't show up on Thursday. I texted my mom that morning and told her I loved her and that I supported whatever they were doing. I just couldn't be in the room. I sat in my apartment with my phone in my hand, watching the clock move through those hours, feeling sick. The intervention did not go the way anyone planned. Marcus walked in, saw the setup, and left within 10 minutes. Apparently, he said almost nothing, just looked around the room, said, "I see," and walked out. He called me that night. Not to thank me for not being there, but to say he knew about it and he was furious at everyone. The fact that I hadn't shown up barely registered for him in that moment. He was consumed by the fact that it happened at all. But for my family, my absence was the story. Renata called me the next morning and said, and I'm quoting again, "You abandoned your brother when he needed a lifeline. You decided your comfort mattered more than his life." My dad, who doesn't do confrontation, sent me a text that just said, "Disappointed." My cousin Deja posted something vague on social media about family members who show up and ones who don't, and everyone who knew us knew exactly what it meant. My mom called a few days later, calmer. She said she understood why I made the call I made, but that the outcome hurt, that Marcus had left, that the interventionist said the absence of a key person can sometimes signal to the subject that even the people closest to them have limits. She didn't say it was my fault, but she didn't say it wasn't. Here's where I have to be honest. Marcus did eventually go to a program. He checked himself in about 10 days after the intervention, not because of anything that happened in that room, but because his boss gave him an ultimatum. He's been in treatment for 2 weeks now. He texted me once, just, "I know you didn't come. I don't know how to feel about that yet." That's the last thing he said to me. So maybe the intervention didn't matter. Maybe it did. Maybe I protected our bond, or maybe I just protected myself and dressed it up as protecting him. I genuinely don't know which one is true. What I do know is that I had a reason. I had his own words, and I still sat in my apartment while my family tried to save him without me. A few weeks later, Renata reached out, not an apology exactly, but she said she'd been thinking about what I told her, about Marcus saying he'd never forgive a family ambush. She said, I still think you should have been there, but I hear you, which is about as close to grace as Renata gets, so I'll take it. My parents are cautiously relieved that Marcus went to treatment. Nobody's talking about the intervention anymore, not directly. It's just sitting in the middle of every family group chat like something we all agreed not to name. And Marcus, I'm waiting. I'm not pushing. I wrote him a letter, actual paper and pen that I haven't sent yet. I keep revising it. I don't know if it'll land right. I don't know if anything will. So here I am. I had his words. I had a real reason. I also wasn't in the room when my family tried to pull him back from the edge. Maybe those two things can both be true. Maybe one cancels the other out. I honestly cannot tell you which side I land on when I sit with it at 2 in the morning. So, am I the problem here? Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.